Riot Baby is among the finest books I've read this year, but also more than that, it's just one of the best books I've read in general. I just think it's an incredible book. It's 5 stars, 100%, A+, everything. Like, I think it hit all the notes and more that I would have wanted a book like Riot Baby to hit, and I think it's an incredible achievement in the sci-fi fantasy genre. The title Riot Baby stems from one of the main characters, Kev, who is born during the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles during the 1990s. He and his older sister Ella have these mysterious powers that they don't fully understand or really know how to control. The story is told through a series of vignettes and small scenes from their life over the course of 8 to 10 years, and this structure gives this novel, or novella I think I should say, it gives this novella a very lyrical feel and grounds the story as an emotional story rather than a traditional character arc or plot-driven story. Though I would add that the characters are still very three-dimensional and fully realized. It's just like the point of this book was not the characters themselves, but rather their roles in a larger system of, you know, American society. The themes of this novel range from police brutality and the prison industrial complex to Black masculinity and Black motherhood and medical racism, to even religion is explored very heavily in this book. And I mean, the list just goes on. Like I said earlier, this book just deals with so much in a small amount of space. And all of these elements present themselves in the text fluidly. They don't announce themselves, and it almost feels reductive to list them out like that. Tochi Onyebuchi, the author, does such a good job of weaving them into the narrative and not making it feel like he's, you know, trying to go through like a bullet point list of themes that he wants to discuss. He's truly just portraying reality as he sees it for Black Americans. This was written before 2020. Obviously, it came out this year, so it had to have been written a long time before 2020. So this was written before the deaths, I should say murders, of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. And that's another theme that this book deals with, that these instances of abhorrent racism are not in fact instances, they're symptoms of a larger systemic structural problem with our society. We also explore how this broken system is violent against Black children, specifically the boys. When Kev is just a teenager, he's stopped and frisked by a police officer for no apparent reason, and he's assaulted, he's punched, and even as a child, when he still had that sort of protection of being a younger child, he was still aware of the police as a threat to his life. And it's just harrowing to read about, and it must be hell to live. Riot Baby is a superhero story that drops the pretext and is very straightforward about the subject matter it's tackling. What I mean by that is science fiction, fantasy, the superhero genre, they're all not strangers to social commentary. You know, take X-Men or Dune with, you know, X-Men tackling the civil rights movement, Dune talking about climate change. Like, often the best sci-fi fantasy deals with political or politicized topics, but there is no allegory in Riot Baby. It's real life, real history. Onyebuchi imagines a world where systemic racism is met with systemic change, and what that might look like, what the consequences of that might look like. And he said in an interview that he wrote this book out of a place of anger and hurt, and that those emotions are very palpable in this book. After finishing this book, I can totally see why it might have been cathartic for him to write. And I just have an immense respect for this book and the amount of emotional labor that it must have taken to write something like this. Usually I read fantasy and sci-fi as a form of escapism, especially the superhero genre. We all watch superhero movies to get away from the mundane world, to get away from our normal problems, and that's usually the case. But Riot Baby took me to a reality that I have had the privilege to never experience and never will experience, and I just think it is an incredible addition to the genre and just a must read. Thank you so much for watching this video, and for more fantasy book reviews, feel free to subscribe, click like, and comment, and take care. I'll see you in the next one.